Is Cricket South Africa brave in their selection when it comes to Test cricket? Let's just start with Test cricket for now. I want to know if Cricket South Africa are making the brave decisions when it comes to the selections that they should be doing when it comes to selecting teams to compete against the best, but also not only competing against the best right now, also in their transitional phases to build, to get those teams to the next level, to be able to compete over a long period of time. So the ultimate question that I want to ask, the players that they've selected in the squad, the players that they select in their starting 11, is it brave enough for South Africa to get back to winning ways? I'm going to be bringing on my panel to come chat about this, and I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section as well. So if you're new to this channel, please subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. Please smash that like button, comment in the comment section, and share this across all your social media platforms. Let's get this conversation going. Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid. This is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Welcome to the show, Aditya. Great to see you again. We're waiting for a couple of other guys to join the stream. Hopefully they do. Aaron's obviously been invited, but you know those English guys, they like to first watch their teams perform before they come to chat to us. So we're waiting for him to still come and have a chat with us, because there's something that I want to talk to him about, actually, because obviously it's very important that we have two of the guys that represent possibly two of the best teams of the last 5-6 years, I would say. Aditya as well as Aaron, England and India, two teams that we can really learn from, South Africa particularly, when it comes to this. So how's it going, Aditya? How are you feeling?
Very well. It's great to have live cricket back on again with the England versus New Zealand test match starting today, and Devon Conway just registered 100 on debut. Excellent, high-quality batting. So, if you're a cricket fan, it's a great day to be one.
Yeah, and if you're South African, you're going to be mentioning that again for another South African doing the things, in another team. So, let's get the conversation going, Aditya. I want to speak about it. Initially, this conversation came up because I got some information about, I got an opinion about Calvin. And initially, I wasn't 100% sure why England had selected the keeper that they did. But then I came up with the information. I got told the information that because of the keeper, one keeper was getting arrested because of the IPL involvement, Josh Butler, and the other one was because an injury happened to folks, and that he slipped or something like that. He was on socks and he slipped and then he injured himself. And that's the reason why they brought up this new guy into the team, because he was being in the environment or the biosecure environment. So it made me question certain things with regards to, hey, if at first I was like, if England are brave enough to be able to drop their keeper for a guy like this that's inexperienced and only averages 37 in the local scene, then maybe why is that question's not being asked about some of our senior players? Not particularly Quinton Cock, but just our senior players in general. But then it was all out the way, because obviously that didn't happen. So I still thought that it was an interesting topic. I still thought that it was a topic that we can still discuss, because I still don't think that South Africa are very brave in their decisions, especially when it comes to picking youngsters. We've got Mr. England himself over here in the back.
There we go.
How's it, Aaron? How are you doing over there? Can you give us a quick update on what's happening with England over there?
Not the greatest of days, unfortunately, for the 3 Lions and a Crown. New Zealand currently 200 for 3. Devon Conway has been absolutely otherworldly today. 115 from 178 deliveries. Some of the drives that he has been producing today have been absolutely pristine. He looks like a man in form. He looks like a man who commands and has so much confidence and presence in the crease. It has been an absolute batting masterclass at the home of cricket. And you know what? As a Wellington Firebirds fan, of course I'm an England fan as well, this is special. I've been watching Devon Conway for a number of years now. He has been racking up runs for fun in New Zealand domestic cricket, in the red ball, in the 50 over, in the Super Smash as well. He deserves this, and I'm glad that the world now has this idea and perception of Devon Conway as a real special talent. So, yes, it is against my team, but I'm a cricket fan first and foremost. I can appreciate just how good of an innings this is. And Devon Conway, take a bow. It's as simple as that. Absolutely masterful.
One of those things, another South African, right? That's but it's something that I want to chat about. So, okay, guys, let's go into the main topic. It's about brave selections. And I think that's something that South Africa have failed to do over the years. I think particularly when we had guys that are senior guys in the side, we failed to be brave enough to add youngsters to that mix. It's always the more experienced guys in domestic cricket that we've gone for. South Africa is currently very lucky, yes, that a lot of youngsters are talented enough to get into domestic setups to be able to rack up runs and get those opportunities at domestic level. The likes of Reinhard van Tonder now going on to his third season in domestic cricket at the age of 21. You've got a guy like Zubair Hamza that has racked up 3 and he's only 24, 25. You've got the likes of Jason Smith that has racked up 6 at only 25, 26. There's a lot of these type of things that are happening in South Africa because of opportunities given at domestic level for youngsters early on. We're going to see Bryce Parsons get an opportunity now at the age of 19, 20, getting an opportunity there at the Dolphins or at KwaZulu-Natal.
Yeah, not the Dolphins. Use the character.
But I think they're going to be keeping their name, I think, for the next season. So they might be still called the Dolphins. So an interesting one over there. Because I know the Titans are keeping their name and the Lions are keeping their name. So they're still going to remain the Lions. Gauteng is going to remain the Lions. And Northerns are going to remain the Titans. So it's very interesting that's going to be happening. The Cobras obviously changing their name. Western Province is going to be their name. They're going to keep I think that was the last conversation that I had with them, is that they're going to keep the Western Province nostalgia within their team. Boland obviously keeping Boland. They're not going to go for something different. So I think because of the amount of youngsters that have been given opportunities at a younger age as well, that's why there's so many youngsters knocking on the door right now. I think before that wasn't the case. There was a lot of experience in South African cricket. A lot of youngsters were maybe not. I think the only youngster that was really knocking on the door back then was JP Dumini, really, and he got the opportunity. Wayne Barnell was at the time. Who else was there that I can name off the fly here? But there was a lot of guys. There wasn't as many, I think, now, because obviously of the lack of experience in domestic cricket. So obviously you need more youngsters that are top quality. So the youngsters are obviously getting more opportunities. But still, I still think that particularly in the era of Faf du Plessis, I think in that era, his era of captain, when he became captain, when Dale Steyn was there, coming towards the end of his career. Vernon Philander, we knew was only going to come towards the end of his career. Morkel coming towards the end of his career. Hashim Amla particularly as well, I think, because I think so many people could have learned from him. I mean, so many batsmen could have learned from Hashim Amla. I mean, only certain batsmen will be able to learn from him now in domestic arena, dependable on what team he plays for. So now he's playing for Western Province, so obviously the youngsters there were going to benefit from it, but the rest of the country won't. So unfortunately, that's the case now. So am I right in saying that South Africa haven't been brave enough when it comes to picking youngsters?
But Harley, can I just say about Hashim Amla, though? Because this is something that I've actually picked up on by doing the Counts Cricket podcast. It is a fair point. Of course, Western Province and the young batsman, David Beddingham, for example, will learn the most from Hashim Amla. But just his presence in the circuit alone will be absolutely fantastic. The fact is, having Hashim Amla in there, let's say you're playing Boland, for example, or you're playing Northerns, or you're playing Gauteng, it allows those guys, maybe after the game, to kind of, almost gain that knowledge. They can have a chat with Hashim Amla, whereas he wasn't in the circuit beforehand. So, yes, Western Province is obviously they do benefit the most. But even his presence in the circuit alone, allowing for that sharing of knowledge and information from one of the greatest cricketers in the modern era, is massive. So even his presence is amazing. That is one thing that we should be celebrating. Hashim Amla back in South African cricket is absolutely phenomenal. In terms of your second point, Khalid, with regards to Braves selection, I actually think back to England in 2015. And there's always one man who will be one of the most unlucky fellas in English cricketing history, and that is James Hildreth of Somerset. At the time, if we looked at pure stats, he was scoring 1,000 plus run seasons for fun for the West Country side, and he was the man who everyone thought was going to be in England's middle order. However, he didn't fit our system, and instead we went for some younger players, who some people may know, Johnny Bairstow and Ben Stokes. We went for guys like that. We pushed the boat out. We went for the risky option, I suppose, but it's paid off. Sometimes you have to play a high-risk game, and that's what England have done. Sometimes it won't pay off. But I think in terms of having that bravery, that courage to give these youngsters a chance is something that South Africa need to do. And when we talk about young players right now, I think of one person in particular, and that's Carver Rayner. How on earth is he not playing Test cricket on a regular basis? The guy's first-class average is over 60, isn't it? He's an extraordinary talent. Khalid, we've spoken about it before as well, with regards to his attitude. He's a match winner. This is a guy who comes to the forefront of a team when his team need him the most. So yes, Khalid, in terms of the overall question and topic of tonight's conversation, 100%. But I suppose that South Africa, in a time where they've struggled, let's face it, I mean, even now, 7th in the world, they've gone for the safe option. But hopefully moving into the future, I mention this word all the time, identity. As soon as they can find that identity to strive towards and build their cricket around, hopefully these riskier and more courageous decisions to play the young players will come into the mix a bit more. That's what I hope with Cricket South Africa.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they do that too. How long have I been singing Calvin Rayner's praises? Ashit Singh, and Ashit Singh, you're asking where Mpo is these days. Mpo is around. He's just been very busy. I did invite him to this stream, but currently they have load shedding where the electricity is off there in Joburg. So it's difficult for him to come on the show when he has load shedding. So I have load shedding. I had load shedding. The lights came on just as we were about to go live. So luckily we got lucky there. But I have some setups over here that allows me to still have internet access when there is load shedding. It's the light problem. That's the problem. It's the light problem. Luckily, I have a little mini floodlight over here that's keeping me lit up. Aditya, I think this is a conversation that I think anybody can have, not only for South Africa's point of view, but start with South Africa, because I think all teams would want their selectors to be a little brave in their selection. But I feel that other teams have done so because of their consistency over time. They've had to be brave with a few selections, even picking captains as well. But when it comes to South Africa, what are your thoughts on that? Have South Africa been brave enough with their selections?
Historically, South Africa has been rather conservative with its selections. And unfortunately, the callback drain didn't really help them, because they did have a set of players that the management had nurtured over a period of time, and they looked equipped to be able to handle the rigors of international cricket, and they did perform on the scene while they had exposure to the national team. But obviously they made that decision, and then the next best in the country took a while to acclimate. So that's a separate issue. And I agree with everything that Aaron said about identity, and the fact that England made picking Bairstow and Ben Stokes a priority, as opposed to James Hildreth, who would probably be the safer and, at the time, probably the preferred option. But just to add to what Aaron said, I think South Africa also needs to think a bit out of the box. In addition to picking the right players, it's also making the most of the resources that you have. Because I think it would be a fallacy to think that there's this incredible player on the domestic scene and he's just going to light it up in international cricket straight away. That doesn't happen. Or that may happen in the first season, but we all know the curse of the second season, when you start getting found out, because in these days of globalization, people study you a lot more. Um, but in saying that, for example, and this is not this. I'm not suggesting that this is the right thing to do. But if we go back to Sri Lanka, when Kumar Sangakkara was wicketkeeper, I think he was averaging about 40 when he was keeper batsman. And when he dropped the gloves, he started averaging close to 60.
Yeah.
So that really helped him. Maybe that's something South Africa can consider with Quinton de Kock. It's a conversation that maybe they can have with him.
Didn't we do a podcast on this?
Yeah.
I think you were on it as well, Aaron. It's great talk here, Aditya. So guys, go check out that podcast on our channel. It's an opportunity for us to get more views on that one as well. But I'm gonna bring up some stats to you guys because I know you guys don't want us to just talk about opinions. So let's look at some of the stats of the top run scorers in South African cricket over the last couple of seasons. The way I've split it up, because I had this long conversation with Aditya. I phoned him when he was half asleep already, and I interrupted him there from his beauty sleep. Tried to talk to him about it, and I also tried to send a voice note to Aaron, but then I sounded quite stupid, so I deleted it. But so he's only going to hear about it the first time right now. I struggled to figure out how I was going to split up the periods of when I'm going to take those runs from, because obviously we know that everybody's seasons work different. Their domestic seasons work differently. Of course, South Africa's one is from September to about May. So it's then our winter, basically spring, winter starts. Winter starts, of course, in June, July, currently. So it's different in India, it's different in England, it's different in Australia. So what we want to try to do is, get a long enough period, and I couldn't do it from calendar year, because I was going to take it from January to December, but because we have a Boxing Day test, we're going to smack bang cut it in between between the first test, or we're going to split up the series, which you can't do. So what I've done is, for the first round of stats that I'm going to show you guys, it's going to be from 2018, the 5th of Jan, when India came down to South Africa for their series. South Africa won 2-1, just to remind Aditya. And it's that particular series that I'm going to speak about. And we're going to run it through until about July 20. The last series was against Sri Lanka. So in that we played India, 3-match series, Australia, 4-match series, that was in South Africa, and then it was Sri Lanka, a 2-match series. So that is obviously through the ball tampering saga, etc., all of those things. This was the stats that we have available to you for that particular series. Now you can look at the list. It's very easy to see over here that Dean Elgar topping the run charts for that particular series. Have I gotten this right? Or is it this one? No, it is the right one. No, was that the right one that I showed? No.
You split them, Khalid. There's two. There's two.
Yeah, I know there's two. So I'm trying to figure out which one is the right one.
Well, show the first one first.
No, this is the first one.
There we go.
Okay, so this is the first one. Yeah, so look who's topping the run charts over here during that period.
Average. Look at that average in comparison to everyone else. 53.16. Wow.
Exactly my point.
What a player.
It's a massive difference. Now, you look at the guys like Temba over here, averaging 38. Actually, one of the best averages out of the rest of the guys. Yes, he only played 4 matches, but he's averaging higher than a lot of the other guys. Only 2 half-centuries in that period. We've got Faf du Plessis averaging at 27 in that period. We've got Hashim Amla averaging at 24 in that period. And Quinton de Kock only averaging 20 in that period. Now, a lot of people would have looked at that season and said, hey, why aren't you dropping these guys? A lot of people were actually calling for Amla's head in this period. And I remember very clearly, a lot of guys were calling for his head in all formats. So looking at this particular stats, you can see what some of the batsmen did in this period. Then after that period, I went for, I want to show you guys what's happening from, it was the 26th of December, 2018, right up until October 19, 2019. So that's the latest, that's the next one that I wanted to do. And that's this. Yes. So in this period, South Africa played, let me just double check everything so I don't mix it up. Pakistan, 3-match in a 3-match series in South Africa, Sri Lanka in a 2-match series in South Africa, and India in India when we got completely murdered in India. So you got us back for that one. It was under Enoch, I think that was that Enoch series, which we struggled to score runs. Topping the standings is Mr. Quinton de Kock with 44 average. It's a brilliant period he went through in form. Faf du Plessis was second, 37.33. And as you can see, everybody else from our more informed batsmen, all in the 20s. Dean Elgar, Aiden Markham, Temba Vahuma, Hashim Amla in that period only played a couple of matches. Tianus the Brain, average 17, he scored. And Keshav Maharaj and all of the other reasons doesn't really matter what they really did. But ultimately, this is your top run scorers in South Africa. So you can see a trend. Struggling with batting consistently. Struggling with batting. South Africa has been struggling with finding a holistic top 6 that can perform consecutively well over a period of time. We also lost a couple of these series during this period as well. So it wasn't really a good run of a period for South African cricket. Let's go on to the next one. And that is from the 26th of December 2019 till now, before this West Indies series. That's this one. That's Carl's. It is latest. On the top of the charts is Dean Elgar, 600 runs at the average of 44. Right? Aiden Markram is on this chart with an average of 44. Temba Bavuma is on this chart with an average of 40. Yes, they've played slightly less 3 less matches than the rest, but the others haven't done exceptionally well. So Quinton de Kock is averaging 32 in 8 matches. Only 4, he couldn't get a century. Faf du Plessis had been struggling, but he's now retired from Test cricket, averaging 29. They've let him go now. But they wait for the players to decline to the point that they have to leave, which I don't really like. I'll rather let guys come in and then learn from these guys at when they are in their peak or when they are in that age group where they can learn from that. But as you can see, these are the run scorers for this particular year. So from the stats that I've shown you, is there anything that shocked you, Aaron and Aditya? Is there anything that really shocked you from those stats?
I wouldn't say quote unquote shocked, but if we just looked at the averages, I know there's obviously a lot of fluctuation, but I mentioned right at the beginning AB de Villiers with that average of 53 in 2018. If I'm correct, he was the only one in that entire period to average over 50, which is massive. That is tremendous. The fact is, you need runs, because if South Africa could pile up the runs, go on, Khalid.
Ultimately, over three season period, no one has averaged 50 in one season since then.
Jeez. Well, that just says it all, doesn't it? Because as we all know, runs are the most valuable currency in cricket. And you look at this South African bowling lineup. I know obviously there's been changes with the retirements of Steyn, Mork or Philander, for example. But the fact is South Africa's bowling is their real strong point. So if you could actually develop a top 7, which was prolific enough to lay these foundations, these 350, 400 plus scores on a regular and consistent basis, suddenly you're no longer looking at a 7th place team. You're looking at a top 3, top 4. So that for me was just something that I gleaned and learned from those stats. And if you look at the runs as well, a lot of fluctuations. So not many players scoring over 600 runs in 8 matches as well. So definitely the runs there is the big takeaway from that, in particular the average for me.
The other thing that I'd probably like to comment on is that in this period, certainly between 2017 and 19, there was this emphasis on producing these green mambas, where batting was going to be virtually impossible, and it was the bowlers who were going to win you the games, and I think that did a massive disservice to the confidence of the batsmen in the team, because when we're now in a position in world cricket where teams tend to dominate at home and they struggle overseas. Virtually every top team, India struggled to produce a string of good scores in England, even though that series was quite close. Australia struggles to win overseas. England struggles to win overseas, and now South Africa have got this problem where they may be winning series at home, but their batsmen are still struggling. And then when they go overseas, because they haven't produced enough runs at home, they simply don't have the confidence to be able to score big in the subcontinent or in England and so on. And and that to me is a question for the management, because there needs to be some sort of a balance between bat and ball. Of course, we can talk about results, but there's no point in playing 11 bowlers. You need to have those 6 or 7 batsmen who can score you 400, 450 runs at the minimum. And what's happened in the last few years, I think, has really sort of contributed to that decline in confidence of the South African batsmen, where that mentality has sort of crept in. Where batsmen feel like, I'm gonna go for the attack because there's some ball out there that has my number on it, and that to me is quite a negative approach to batting. There's plenty of batsmen out there, Virat Kohli included. Sometimes you just have to defend. Check your ego at the door, and we're just going to hang in there, and then there will be a time when I can cash in, and that's when I have to. So I feel like that's the sort of attitude that South African batsmen need to sort of embrace in the upcoming season. Because as Dean Elgar said, he really wants to see South Africa score those big hundreds again.
I also blame the amount of cricket that people are playing now. And the reason why I say that is because back in the day, we would see a lot of the Proteas guys go back to domestic cricket and play cricket in South Africa. And it obviously would increase the stature of cricket in South Africa. It will give a lot of the younger players to learn from the other guys. I mean, JP Duminy, he looked around in his dressing room with the likes of Graham Smith there and Herschel Gibbs and Jacques Callis and flipping Mark Boucher. I mean, the guys that he could learn from at a young age, you could just rattle off names. Currently, you look around the dressing room, all of those guys are trying to fight for spaces to play for the Proteas. A lot of the guys, for example, there's no contracted players at Western Province. So there's no one really for them to learn from an international stage. George Linder didn't get a contract. Calvarena didn't get a contract. Now, a lot of people would say, yes, they deserve one. But from an experience perspective, there's not a lot in that dressing room. Luckily, they have now gone and gotten a guy like Hashim Amla to give them that experience. And Prince had the mindset to be able to do so. Hashit, you've got your wish. And pause here. So welcome to the
show. Hey, finally. Hey, look, I can't blame everyone. It's our power utility. It's wild. It's just wild.
I really apologize for you. Don't worry about it.
By the way, Aaron.
Oh, stunning choice. Stunning choice.
But you're losing.
You are wearing that
losing
in South
to my
Africa.
boy. What's this?
You must be careful wearing that in South Africa. People will think you're associated with a certain gang and all.
Hey, look, I'm supporting New Zealand. I'm supporting New Zealand this test series, so it's wild.
Aditya knows, that's why Aditya's laughing. I'm not going to say why. I'll tell you off air.
So did you guys talk about Devon, by the way?
I did. I gave him a lovely monologue. Absolutely.
Oh man, I am so happy for my boy. So happy. Really am. This is like the first guy from my school to play test cricket in like post-readmission, and he's done such an incredible job. It's like ridiculous.
Oh wow. I didn't know that. That's excellent.
He was a year below me. We were in the same house, and he was a year below me at school, and the kid just dominated everybody. Just so great. So like I'm about to, because of these power problems. I'm gonna join Somerset so I can bowl my leggies, because it seems like it's the best place to be.
Taunton, definitely.
So, Paul, we've been discussing this about brave selection, etc. Something that maybe South Africa's been lacking. We touched on a couple of things. Obviously, I showed some of the stats of. I split them up over who was South Africa's top run scorers over the last kind of 3 seasons, I put it. And I took the stats from series to series so that we don't, not to calendar year, so that you don't split up like the Boxing Day test, for example. I don't know if you want to see the stats quickly before, sure. If you want to have a quick look. Cool. So let's just recap that, guys. Sorry, we're going to be showing you those stats again. But we started off from the 5th of January, which is India, when India came here. right through to the 20th of July 2018. That last series, maybe this, did I close it now? Please don't tell me I closed it. I'll just get it quickly for you. I think the last series over there was, what's the date over there again?
July 2018.
July 2018. That was Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka,
Sri
that
Lanka,
2-match
right.
series.
Yes.
Yeah. Then the next period, let's get it up quickly. Because I normally split the screen, but I can't do that now. Okay, so the next period was this middle period over here. From the 26th of December 2018 till 19 October. I'll tell you which teams we played in that period. It was Pakistan in South Africa. I think that was when Zubi made his debut, I think. Sri Lanka in South Africa, and then India away, I think, under Enoch.
Yes, under Enoch.
Yeah. And then for the final series will obviously be the Boxing Day England test when they came here. And these are the top run scorers in that period until now, before the West Indies series. I think the averages are improving, yeah. But I think the glaring thing that Adam mentioned is that the only person that has scored 50 or above in that period was AB de Villiers in a season. Yeah. So that's a massive, massive difference that South Africa's lacked since over the last couple of seasons individually. So I just want to know your thoughts on that. Do you feel that South Africa is not brave enough in this election?
When you told me about this topic, I kind of thought was like, look, we come from a period where we had Jacques Kallis, we had Graham Smith, you had AB de Villiers, you had Hashim Amla, guys like Colin Ingram, guys like Stian van Zyl, guys like who's that other Kolpak dude who's playing in the PSL, couldn't make the side, and they were very good. And to a certain extent, even look at how Devon Conway is in that period. Devon Conway was coming through his 20s, and he couldn't even make it into a domestic side. We had so many good players in that era that we couldn't want to drop them because, like, they were that good. They were world class. You then lose 5 world class batsmen. Actually, 5, because obviously Quinton came in as the 6th batsman. And then you have to try figure out a way to rejig and do all of these things. And this is the time for brave selections. But we haven't had brave selections before because Colin Ingram was doing so well at a time when Jacques Kallis was looking about retiring, but he kind of retired, I think, a season too late. When Graham was surprisingly retired on us without us even thinking about it, we had nobody in the wings waiting to come through. And so we had to go through a cycle of, let's try some guys from domestic who hadn't had an opportunity. I'm all for brave selections, and I thought that's what we'd get with Mark Boucher. And that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit angry is that a guy like Enoch is not going to be given the rope to have a brave selection because he's trying to prove himself with the media and everybody else because of who he was. But a guy like Mark and a guy like Graham, having the backing of a Graham and the rest of South African cricket media and South African cricket, you are able to then say, hey, look, Calvarena, you're not just a wicketkeeper. Come in. You've had an incredible season batting at 5. Let's try you next week for Thursday. Do you get what I'm saying? Or KP, Keegan Peterson, let's go. Or Reynard Fatonda, let's go. Because that but it kind of felt like he's gone into the realm of I'm fighting for my job. But we'd understand, like even now, the way England have embraced James Bracey is incredible. Like, if you look at his average compared to all the other wicketkeeper batsmen they have in the country, what is he even doing in the squad?
And that's how we started this. That's how we landed on this particular topic. Because someone highlighted it to me that a guy that's averaging 37, where we have a guy that's averaging 50 odd, 60, that can't get into the international team.
And the other thing about it is that England have created this. There are 3 teams in the world that have like a squad of about 30 test level players, and that's England, Australia, and India. And largely because of their domestic game being that vast, like obviously India's got like 20 teams, England's got I don't know how many, they've got millions of people. I don't know what's going on there. Australia is the one because they have 6 sides, but they've managed to have this massive pool. And it feels as though the coaches in South Africa or the coaches or selectors think that there's a massive drop between international and domestic, and that's why they're not willing to make that brave. So you can average 50 over 3 seasons, but still not get a look into the side, which is wild. It doesn't make sense when your national team is losing. And so that's where my thing comes in, because I look at Hasib Hamid, right? He played like 4 years ago, never got a game, was struggling at Lancashire, moved all the way to the north, scoring some runs, and then all of a sudden he's back in the squad. And obviously maybe it's on recent form, but I thought he was behind a whole host of players. But that's the type of thing. It's talent identification, and I think we haven't gotten it right yet. And I think we're still looking at the old way of doing Test cricket, of if a guy like Aiden Markham, Temba Bavuma, Rassie van der Dussen have struggled over a period of 2 years, then we're not willing to say, okay, guys, let's try someone else, because that's how Mark Boucher got to stay in the side. That's how Jacques Callis got to stay in the side. That's how Ash was the only one who really got dropped and then brought back after a series of runs. And I think we need to break that cycle of this is how pro team guys are selected and are brought into the side. And I'm all for brave selections. Like, if guys are knocking down the door, get them into the setup, get them into games. For me, the way I see our Test cricket and our World Test Championship the next way, if you're below us in the Test ranking, we then need to try and bring guys in to give them an opportunity, right? But just like how New Zealand did with Devon Conway, Devon has been for 3 years been the best domestic player across all 3 formats, and the moment they got him available to play Test cricket, they threw him in. Tom Blundell's done nothing wrong. He's done nothing wrong. But they threw him in. And I think that's where it needs to go. Like, for instance, I don't mind if Rassie gets dropped. I think Rassie can play white ball cricket for South Africa, and he's one of the best white ball players ever. I think in this period, Rassie has batted quite okay-ish for South Africa, but I do think that we need to maybe try someone else, because something's not working. And if the thing's broken, why do we keep doing the same thing over and over again? And that's where I think our mindset as a South African cricket public, a South African cricket brains trust in terms of selectors, and even at a domestic level, you need to find a way to change things, which is why I'm so angry at the Cobras, because I'm sitting there going, you guys have lost 15 games before you won that final one, the final franchise game ever. And I'm sitting there going, but guys, you could have done something else. You know, you could have figured out a way. I know Bedingfield left and it created a stir, but that, for me, those are the things that I'm a fan of trying to find something new, trying to find someone different. Like, even like the only thing South Africa is willing to experiment in is fast bowlers. They're willing to give guys a chance. Like, if you can bowl 150, you'll make your way into the team. I.e. Marco Jansen.
Easy. Yeah, with the bowlers, they don't want to hesitate. My thing is always been, the transition the building of a team is so important, and how much time you give that team to be able to build a winning mentality leading up to a specific event. The 2023, I've been talking about Vision 2023 since 2016. I've been talking about Vision 2023. I created a team that I put together a long time ago at my previous place where I've worked, where I put together a team that I think should have been selected in the 2023 World Cup. That was in 2016, 2017 already. I was talking about Vision 2023, because I thought that there was no chance of Vision in the 2019 World Cup, not without AB. That was my whole mentality already then in 2018, 2017, because I thought that there was too much riding on Otis Gibson at the time, with the lack of resources and the lack of personnel to be able to say, look here, this dude is going to take us to win a World Cup in 2 years. In 2 years. Build a mentality, build a system, build a team that can win a World Cup. So I was always like, Vision 2023, these experienced guys need to give what they have inside their heads and what they've experienced to the next generation. Now, I still think the same way. I think we should be planning for the next Test Championship, because this Test Championship is over. You've got a couple of games now that you against the West Indies where you can give the guys that are going to be who can be probably your star players in the next Test Championship when the next Test Championship starts. Calvin is one of them. Mentality-wise, I think that Rassie might not be that player then. I think Rassie's coming towards the end, I would say, in his 4-day cricket career, because there's a lot of guys knocking on that door at the Lions that might take his position there. There's going to be a lot of guys in Gauteng that are going to be knocking on that door and pushing his position in that seat at that team. He's going to struggle to keep his place in the Lions setup, I feel. So
Rassie
I think
will play,
that, but Rassie will, of course he will, because we will trust that. We will play. What I'm saying is there's going to.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that there are going to be a lot of people that's going to be pushing for his position. Not that he's going to get dropped for them, but I'm saying he's going to have to play his best cricket to stay in that team, because there's going to be a lot of guys behind him.
Guys, we forget that Rassie is one of the only few guys who have ever scored 1,000 runs in franchise cricket. And yes, that was about 9 years ago, but it shows you how great a red ball player he is.
He is.
If I look at that side. And the reason why I love Temba's captaincy in the white ball side. I'm not a fan of his vice captaincy in the red ball side, because it kind of hamstrings the team. Because if I look at the guys who would need to make way for guys to get opportunities, it's Temba and it's Rassie. And to a certain extent, yes, Temba scored that double century when he got dropped and he came back, and rightfully so, he got his position back in the side. And after that, he's actually batted quite well, even in the Pakistan series and the Sri Lanka series. The problem is that if you want to give people an opportunity, you need to think of like how England sees it in like a squad mentality. So it's we have like not a 15-man team, we have a 22-man team, even slightly larger than that. And if a player is off form, you can take him out and bring somebody else in. And because we're in that squad mentality, everybody understands everyone's roles, and it's not a situation of, oh, if I've been dropped from the side, I'm never coming back again. And that's the one thing that I'd like to see, is that have 22 men. Rassie and Temba can be in the squad. If they are off form, you just give another guy an opportunity, but they're still in the plans going forward for the entire World Test Championship, so we can get Reynard van Tonder in. And also, for instance, come back from the West Indies, why don't we just play test with Zimbabwe for the guys who aren't even going to the World Cup? Give Reynard van Tonder an opportunity, give Keegan Peterson an opportunity.
Excellent idea.
We know guys aren't going to the World Cup, so you can play them here in the winter, and you can, well, they're playing the Zimbabwe A now, but watch this test series. Guys are gonna literally shine. It's gonna be insane. How, like, I'm watching Rickleton now and I'm like, okay, we could have an opening crisis or another man knocking for a spot as an opener, who's a left-hander. And so for me, that's the type of thing you need to allow people to understand what their roles are. And in South African cricket forever, it's always been the 11 and the guys who are just good enough to travel in case there's an injury, and they'll never get a game. And that needs to change.
Yeah. So the reason why a lot of people ask me why Temba, not Rassie, why not Temba, why Rassie that must get dropped. I think it's purely because of, for me personally, it would purely be because of the amount of experience that Temba has in international cricket. I think that he'll be able to give more insight to a younger player coming into the team than Rassie would at the moment, because Temba's played all over the world, every single country, the home and away. He's played everywhere. The experience that man has, the leadership qualities that man has, and also he's currently in form. So that's the current situation as well. But also because they won't drop him, because he's probably most likely going to be the vice captain currently. So I'm only trying to make decisions based on the information that I've been given. I'm not saying that this is personally going to be my choice. I'm not the person sitting in that room making the decisions. I'm trying to make calculated decisions based on what could possibly happen. That's what I'm trying to say. Or who could
I think what we want is just clarity. If you want to drop him, drop him. We don't have an issue. Like, I'm not gonna go out and go burn badges.
They need to do the best thing for. They need to do the best for South African cricket. That's it.
Yes, for the team and for your job. That's the one thing that's been bothering me with Mark Boucher is, if you ask him, are these selections the best for your job? He'll probably say no. That's the sad part about it. And for me, having someone like Graham Smith in your corner allows you the ability to be free, to be able to then say, okay, fine, let's select the best team I think can play the game. And if it's dropping Temba, drop him. He doesn't mind being dropped. The problem is that everyone's put him on a pedestal as this one great black batsman. But if you want to make a brave decision, there's a kid called Sinatemba Tashile that you should have been picking a very long time ago. But right now, we're stuck with, okay, no, there's Temba, but where are the others? There's many others that you could have tried throughout so many series. You can bring back, guys, you can bring Bangladesh here. You can bring Zimbabwe here. You can bring who, God knows what, to play whatever games you want to play, because
bring Ireland here for like man. Fuck now. Give Ireland a little bashing there.
Bashing? No. Ireland are going to have you on toast, boys. I'm telling you right now. You're going to feel the wrath of the Irish this summer.
Yeah, that's different formats.
On CFM, the amount of times you have completely disregarded this Ireland side. Mark Adair and the boys
I'm
have come in for you.
I never disregarded them. I said Test cricket.
They bowled us out for 85.
I'm not talking about other formats.
They bowled us out for 85.
Yeah,
but you England, you guys get bowled out for low scores a lot. So now I'm joking.
3-1. 3-1.
You played against, look here, you're comparing like literally at the moment, South Africa's like a championship side and you guys are like a Premier League side. So like, come on guys, like if you're going to look at yourself, it's like we are a Europa League side currently and you guys are like Champions League winners in a way.
Yeah, but
so like,
again,
come on.
Again, though, South Africa shouldn't be that case, though, should they? Because let's face it, we speak about it all the time. I mean, and Poe just rattled off a list of names there, for example. South Africa shouldn't be in this position with this ridiculously deep talent pool, and you see that talent pool come to fruition here in county cricket as well.
It's about cricket. Like we speak for, you know how long we've been speaking. And Paul, they say that there's no other black African batsman. I've seen some black African batsmen put on quite good shows in domestic cricket at the moment.
But that's that's another brave selection that you could do. Temba was a brave selection when he was selected. And I think it was a season or two too late.
Too late?
Too late. Because there was the season before where he was actually batting quite well. But he obviously couldn't make the side because of the way But those are the type of brave selections you do. But the other thing is those brave selections come with you then giving them an opportunity. And I want an opportunity across all races. Reynard van Tonder needed to have batted a long time ago. Ed Moy should have been in the side in the season that he was scoring runs, not now when he's no longer scoring runs. Peter Malan should have been looked when we were trying to drop Stephen Cook.
Yeah, but I mean,
when we're giving Heino Kuhn an opportunity, and we're like, what are you doing?
My thing is that I also believe that having a couple of the seasons on the trot consecutively of good seasons is also good for a cricketer to be able to get that consistency, because the likelihood of them performing is greater than just rewarding one season. Because if you just reward one season, everybody can have a great season and then get selected. So, for example, what is a complete blasphemy is Calvin, because it's 3 seasons on the trot now. It's not like it's just 1 or 2 seasons. Reynard van Tonder, I can understand. Reynard van Tonder is 21 years old. I believe he's probably the best South African batsman currently in the setup, in the domestic setup, right? But he's only had 2 seasons. 1 season when he opened, a 2nd season when he batted in his own position that he's comfortable in. So he needs, I think, 1 more season won't do him harm. 1 more season of him performing well, batting in other areas of the country, because he never got an opportunity to actually bat in other conditions very often and put on performances there as well.
Oh yeah, no, Bloemfontein's a top place.
Yeah. So it's one of those things for
here's
me.
The thing. Why don't we have, and this is my thing, like last week, so Devon Conway probably wouldn't have started if he didn't score that 100 in that intra-squad match last week, right? And so my thing is okay, fine. If Reynard van Tonder is good enough, get a domestic 11 to come up against the Proteas in a one-off game. No one needs to.
I've been speaking about this for fucking also years. Sorry, my language, but I've been speaking this.
I know, but that's how you see if a guy's good enough, and you let Kagiso bowl at Reynard van Tonder, and you can see. And I know you're going through the most, but that for me is the only way for us to find out if guys are truly that good, if guys can do the job for you. But yeah, I know we've been saying this for a whole long time. And the problem about all of this is the way in which South Africa sees each team. it's an 11 plus 5. Just like how Mark told you guys. When we asked him about Cal Verreynne, he was like, Cal Verreynne's a backup wicketkeeper. Why am I talking about him? And we're like, huh? So that's the mentality at the selectors level needs to change. You can't come and tell me that a guy like Cal Verreynne who can bat really, really well and has done so well, and you bring him into the squad, and all the answer is no, he's a backup wicketkeeper. That's fine. He's not going to play. And so that's my problem with all of this, is that guys are seeing it from a different angle than what we are seeing it.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Aaron, I'm going to give you a final say, and as well as Aditya, you can go as long as you want to now, because I think we've ranted enough.
Well, how do we want to end today, boys? I mean, in terms of selection, someone who I actually wanted to mention, actually, when you were mentioning young batsmen, what about Wandile Makwetu? What do you think about him in the South Africa shirt, potentially at some point? Because again, he's another talent. I've noticed him in South African cricket. One for the future, David Bedingham as well. Potentially, of course, we don't know what direction he's going to head after his stint at Durham. And also, just to give you an update on England versus New Zealand. Yeah, Devon Conway still at the crease, 127 not out. Doesn't look like we're going to get him out anytime soon. They're currently 225 for 3. Yeah, not been the greatest of days this for England, unfortunately, has to be said. I feel like we're desperately missing a certain Warwickshire seamer. Could have added in a bit of X factor, a bit of spice, a bit of zip, a bit of pace. May have taken 3 for 29 in his last Lord's outing and 4 for 68 on a relatively dead pitch in Chennai, but Chris Silverwood sees it different to me. But yeah, just how it is, isn't it, unfortunately? And yeah, New Zealand have been the better side today.
Okay, Aaron. That's like his punch every single time, every stream. He has to say something about England. Aditya?
And Ollie Stone.
This is the only that's better than that.
No, where? Who?
Currently playing for you guys. It's a new Ollie in the town.
I mean, Ollie Robinson, do not get me wrong, Ollie Robinson is good, okay? But it's like that meme, have you seen it, the Jeremy Clarkson meme, where it's, this is great, but I like this. That's what it's like with Ollie Stone. That's like me, okay? Ollie Robinson,
really,
fantastic.
The selectors don't think
so. They will do for the next test at Edgbaston, and otherwise there's going to be
something for you as my closing thing. So I'll wait for Aditya to have his say.
I'm just looking in the comments about Aaron calling for the pebble again. The boulder, Stonehenge. All right, let's get this correct, not the pebble. Okay. Put some respect on my guy's name. Same with Sibley as well. Sorry, Aditya. Yeah, carry on.
Well, to sum up what we've been talking about, I agree with both sentiments. There is a certain timing that the selectors need to get right when they're introducing new talent. And history tells us, that when the golden age of South African cricket was on, with Smith, Callis, Boucher, de Villiers, Steyn, Morkel, and so on, there wasn't enough of an emphasis on picking younger players and giving them that exposure to international cricket. And we saw South Africa was exposed after all of those retirements. So it is imperative for the selection committee to really consider Kyle and Reynard Mathonda and so on. In saying that, I also think that it's important to nurture the talent that South Africa has got, because not everyone is going to come in from domestic cricket and be that finished article. It doesn't happen. If you do well in your first season, that's great. But in order to be able to continuously produce results over time, the team has to get the best out of you. So, as I said earlier on the stream, that if Quinton de Kock hasn't been at his best for a period of time now, his batting, maybe it's time for him to give up the gloves. Give the gloves to Kyle Verreynne and add that solidity in the batting lineup. Maybe that's an option that the team can consider. But these are the sorts of decisions that Mark Boucher and the selection committee need to make, because ultimately, as the stats that you put up earlier showed, batting has been a serious problem for a couple of years now, and that should be the emphasis going forward.
Mm-hmm. What I've learned from this stream is that I think I should keep him pulled from the stream for a couple of days,
Purposefully, and have Eskom load shed me a lot.
Yeah, and purposely this time, and they bring him on for a massive show on a Wednesday evening. Guys, anything else you want to say on Paul before we
I
leave?
just want one more thing to say to Aaron.
Oh no.
Go. Not a single Oliver had ever played Test cricket. Ollie Robinson today became the third in 3 years from England, and he's probably the second best Oliver there.
Correct.
We know the first one, the best one is Pope.
Stone.
The second and the Pebble is lost. So sorry, dog.
Hang on. 7 wickets, an average of 13.85. Let's put some respect on my guy's name. Okay. And yeah, that is off the top of my head. 13.85. You can look it up for anyone who wants to put it in cricket info. 7 wickets at 13.85, 4 for 68 on a pitch in Chennai, which offered absolutely nothing. This guy, okay, this was 4 a.m. here in England. I woke up at 3 a.m. and woke up my entire neighbourhood when he got Shubman Gill out LBW. Put some respect on my guy's name.
Okay,
he's going to take some wickets in this second series. He's going to play against
Bring Ollie
India.
Stone to South Africa. He'll play international cricket for us.
Ollie Stone should have played in that series. Okay, it's not his fault that it was postponed. I guarantee you he would have feasted alongside Chris Wokes. You would have had the skillful outswingers and in-swingers of Chris Wokes, and then the ferocious, fiery speed, the rockets from Ollie Stone.
We need to find Ollie Pebble a nice South African Macy.
Stonehenge.
And then when he finds a nice South African Macy, then he will become Ollie Stone.
Yeah. So before I go, here's one last thing. There were 3 Devons to play international cricket.
One of them, Malcolm.
Devon Smith and Devon Malcolm. Scored a century today, Devon. Please keep going, my man. Just keep flying that flag high. Love you lots. Keep fighting England all the way to the end.
Until Ollie Stone comes in second test Edgbaston.
Oh, we're waiting for that one. Guys, have you seen what Devon's doing to not good? Like, it's easy, guys. It's this game's easy to Devon Conway.
Yeah, but it's Mark Wood. Wait until he takes on the Pride of Warwickshire at Fortress Edgbaston in front of 18,000 people.
Here's the funny part about Devon. He never made it to the Under-19 World Cup. That was like, I think 2009 with Wayne Parnell and the guys. Or I think, yeah. That's ridiculous. He wasn't picked for that side. But look at him now. A lot about hard work. So, yeah.
He is a great cricketer as well. He is a fantastic cricketer. Oh, for goodness sake. This is just getting ridiculous.
I didn't know that it could be topped. And then it was topped again. Wow, that's a great way to end the stream, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for giving us all the support. Smash that like button, comment, share, and do all of those things. If you're new on the channel, obviously subscribe to the channel. We'll see you again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care. We got a special one for you, special guest. A journalist is going to be talking to us. Hopefully, if he recovers from having his vaccine, he's going to be chatting to us about a massive article, a very cool article that he wrote to us. So myself and Aditya are going to be diving into that one and having a chat with him about that. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show.